Hello Matrix and welcome again. Today we are doing our exponential laws. So this is part of the question 1 of paper 1 usually for the NSC anyway. For IEB they switch the order of the questions around a little bit, so sometimes we have to just look for them. But we know what to expect in paper 1. We're always going to get an exponential question. So let's have a look at the laws that we need to know. And these are, again, we did way back when in, I think, grade 10, and some of you even grade 9 and grade 8. So the key to these laws is if you have the same base and you multiply them, this would be the first one, m times n. What we do is we just add the exponents together. So y would then be y equals m plus n. Okay. Plus n. So for example, if it was y3 times y2, and say y3 plus 2 equals y5. Okay, and so there we see the 3 was a m and the 2 was the n. Okay, now if we divide, so y divided by y equals, we just simply subtract them. So we have, if we have the same thing, m and n, what we do is we subtract m and n. Pardon me, we divide y, so y to the n divided by y to the n, we get minus n. So if we had that same example at the top, y divided by y and 3 and 2, we get y equals 1. Okay, which you don't put in the 1, you just say y. Okay, so this is quite simple stuff for the most of you matrics. So obviously if you do understand this, you can skip through to the next lesson. But this is in the matric exam, so I just want to make sure that everyone is up to speed on everything. Another thing is, if you have y to the 0, okay, so you have y to the 0, it's always equal to 1. Okay, so whatever it is, so it could be 1,000,000 to the power of 0, it's going to be 1. Okay, or you could have x squared times 3 times y, and have this all in brackets to the 0. Very simple, it's just equal to 1. Okay, equals 1. Okay, so the other thing is, just bear in mind that if you have these rules can combine, so the m, when we have, let's look at the derivation of this rule. So let's say we have of this second rule, so I'm just going to label this rule 1 and then 2. Let's say we have to the minus y to the minus 3, or should I say y to the minus n. Okay, as soon as you see that, you can just take, because they don't want you to have negative exponents, never, ever leave your question with a negative exponent. You will lose a mark. So you need to take it to the bottom and it changes sign. So it becomes y to the plus n. Okay, and so you can use that. And so when something jumps either up or down, it changes sign. So for example, you might get, and we're looking at more of the type of question you might get, x squared y over m to the 3, and say they put it in a minus, or to the minus 2. Okay, what that means is that you could flip whatever's in the brackets around. Because when something jumps across, and remember, everything in this bracket gets the 2. So x would be 2 times minus 2, which would be minus 4, which is the exponential rule, which I'll show you next. So everything would be flipped. So you would have, you could say it was m squared y over so m cubed over x squared y. So everything flipped around, and then it can just become positive. Okay, so that's part of the rule. Then I want to look at the exponential rule. And so we have, say we have 3, we have y to the m, and we say to the power of n. Okay, so this exponential rule, we simply just multiply the exponents. So that becomes m times n. And so we could have an example, y to the 3 to the power of 2, so same as what we did above with the same numbers, but we get a different answer. We get 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay, so those are your exponential laws. Most of you should already know them. If you didn't, you know them now. And next up, we're going to be doing surds. So yeah, I'll see you in the next lesson.